guys, you're probably wondering why I'm so close to the camera, and it's because I'm recording this after I finished filming, and I forgot to mention that I have reached over 100 subscribers in a month, and I am so like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. So I wanted to celebrate with you guys for making this happen, and I am doing a giveaway of a $25 Visa gift card and also like some other miscellaneous stuff in that little, giveaway. So here are the instructions. The instructions are: make sure you're subscribed to me, comment down below, follow me on Instagram at thatboringasian, and then hit me up on Instagram, like comment down below on Insta and be like, hey, I found you on YouTube, or hey, I subscribed to you on YouTube. Choose me for your giveaway. Yeah. And I'm only choosing one winner this time because, I'm still broke. But yeah, sorry for the scary pop-up. Yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much. And let's get back to the video. Hello, and welcome back to Chillin' with Cathy. I drank like 3 sodas before recording this, so I'm up there right now. Yeah, so let's put on our pajamas and let's get started. Oh, also before I start this video, I just wanted to ask you guys, how was y'all's Thanksgiving? Did you practice social distancing? Were you safe? I want you guys to protect yourself by wearing masks and protect others by wearing masks and following CDC guidelines. Not sponsored by the CDC. I don't know why, but I feel kind of short right now. Like, I feel like very scrunched now, and I don't know why. I have my camera the way that I usually have it, so I don't know why I feel like, I don't know, maybe I just sound stupid or look stupid. But I always keep like some space right here so I can add pictures and stuff later. So, yeah. So, today I wanted to talk about Keith Hunter Jesperson. And you're probably wondering, who is that? Who's Keith Hunter Jesperson? Well, he is also known as the Happy Face Killer. So, Keith Hunter Jesperson was born on April 6, 1955 to Gladys and Leslie Jesperson. He was born in Chilliwack, British Columbia, Canada. And he was also the middle child, so, sometimes the middle child gets forgotten. I'm not the middle child, I'm the youngest, because it's just me and my sister. But, yeah, usually the middle child gets forgotten. Not much was said about his mother other than Keith not showing remorse or emotion whenever she passed away whenever he was 30. So, she's not really involved in this at all. Keith claimed that his father was a very violent and abusive alcoholic, and that his grandfather from his father's side was not any better either. But later on, Keith's father was just like, no, I was never abusive, I was not an alcoholic or anything like that. But the other children in the family were like, no, he's lying, yeah, he was very abusive, he was very violent, and yeah. At the age of 5, Keith was showing symptoms of the McDonald triad, and you're probably also wondering, what is the McDonald triad? You mean McDonald's where I can get a cheeseburger? It's actually an idea of 3 symptoms that may show a child would grow up to become a serial killer. One of the signs are like torturing animals, killing animals at a young age, also having an interest in fire, like, lighting things on fire, arson. And then the third sign would be frequently wetting the bed, which I thought is pretty weird. Like, kids, they have accidents, but I guess that's a sign. So whenever he was young, he would actually catch a lot of animals and then torture them or put them together so they can fight. I guess he had the sensation of just being able to control something and being able to watch something die, and that just gave him so much thrill. I know it's so gross to think about, but I guess that's what he liked. I don't know, just so weird, right? And his parents assumed that whenever he got older, he would get out of that habit. So I'm assuming his parents knew that he was like, oh, I like watching animals die. I like killing animals. And they're like, oh, he'll grow out of it. It's okay. Just let him grow out of it. No, he actually continued to do this as he got older. But as he got older, he was catching bigger animals, such as dogs, cats, birds, I guess eventually humans. And like, he grew up in a trailer park, so there's always a lot of stray animals and dogs. He would take them and then just strangle them to death. So he had a very big interest in strangulation. So just keep a note on that. So let's go back to Keith's father. So his father would be super abusive, super violent, and he's also an alcoholic. And I think at the age of 11, whenever Keith was like just barely entering the preteen stage, his father had made him pay $30 a week just so he could pay for rent or utilizing the house. Here's a crazy thing. He did make the other children, like his siblings, also pay, but later on, Keith found out that he actually been paying longer than they have been paying. So they stopped paying at a certain time or whatever, and then Keith just kept paying. Which, like, who does that? What kind of parent does that? Like, the kid is not even old enough to get a job yet. So that's just an asshole move from the father. So later on, his family moved to Selah, Washington, and from there on, Keith was having issues fitting in with the other children. He had a really hard time making friends whenever he was in school due to his size. I don't know. I would assume, I guess now it's different. Like, I see children that are 12 and they're taller than me. Like, my nephew, he weighs more than I do and he's taller than me. And he's only 12. So it's like, I don't know. But he got the nickname Iger and Ig. I guess Iger and Ig are the same thing. But whenever I looked it up, I saw that Iger stood for a strong warrior. But I could be wrong. I would take that as a compliment. But, you know, I guess he was self-conscious with his size. So, you know, people are self-conscious about different things. So that nickname stuck with him throughout all of his grade years. Also in his younger years, he actually attempted murder. Not once, but twice. So in his first murder attempt, Keith had a friend named Martin, and they were both at the same age. I believe they were 10 years old at this time, and they were just big troublemakers. They will go around, do some trouble or make some trouble, and whenever they would get caught, Martin would always blame everything on Keith. Keith would always get punished for everything that Martin did, and eventually Keith got tired. He ended up beating Martin so bad that his dad had to pull him away. And when his dad was asking him, why are you doing this? What is your problem? And he was just like, why'd you stop me? I wanted to kill him. As I was reading this, I was just like, if that was my child, and my child was just like, I was trying to murder him, I would have been like, all right, we're going to take a trip to the therapist or psychiatrist or get you some help, because that is not a good sign. 1 year later, after his first attempt of murder, Keith went swimming in a lake, and there was a boy that went up to him and started drowning him underwater until he blacked out. Later the same day, Keith did the same thing to the same boy, but this time, a lifeguard saw what they were doing, and the lifeguard threw Keith off of that boy. I never got the name of the boy for the second attempt murder, so there's that. So apparently Keith and some of his other classmates were told by a dairyman, so I'm assuming it's a milkman, you know, back in the days where they would walk around and give out glasses of milk instead of putting in a carton. So that dairyman actually told the kids to strip off their clothes, but Keith got really scared and he ran off, and the other kids stayed. So that's probably very traumatizing to him, you know. So growing up, you know, he actually went through a rebellious stage where he ended up getting a BB gun from his father. Yeah, what a great father, right? Let's give him a freaking BB gun. So with this BB gun, he ended up shooting his neighbor in the genitals. Yeah, the genitals. If you don't know what the genitals are, that's your lower region in your private area. So that freaking hurts. And then he also shot his overweight neighbor that was bending over to pick berries. Like, just imagine you're picking berries and all of a sudden this random ass kid just starts shooting you with the freaking BB gun. So in high school, Keith joined the wrestling team. You know, he was making use of his size, so he joined the wrestling team. That's smart. I thought that was pretty smart. The wrestling team would make fun of him because whenever they would climb the rope, the 25-foot rope, he would never make it to the top. Like, honestly, I wouldn't be able to climb a rope either. I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared of getting like rope burn like in my hands. Oh, my hands are getting sweaty just thinking about it. But anyways, yeah, he wasn't able to climb the 25-foot rope. One day, he was climbing the rope and he made it halfway there and he fell and slammed his head against the mat. I know that there's mats there to protect you from your fall, but it still hurts and it still can leave bad damage to the brain. So that's another thing that probably triggered him to doing what he does in the future. Even though he didn't do really great with his love life in in high school or just throughout grade school, he was able to marry a lady named Rose Huck. He married her right after high school at the age of 20 in 1975, and they ended up having 2 daughters and 1 son. Several years later, Rose began to have some suspicions that Keith was having an affair. He was just getting random calls throughout the day, and this is when their marital issues began. After 14 years of marriage, Keith was out working on the road, and Rose decided to pack up her and her children's belongings and moved out. So she just left. They ended up leaving 200 miles away from home just to be with Rose's parents. Even though they were separated, Keith and his children still ended up hanging out and spending time with each other whenever he was in town in Washington. Keith and Rose actually divorced in 1990. At the age of 35, Keith was roughly 240 pounds and he was 6 feet and 7 inches tall. So that's a big man. He continued to work as a truck driver and worked really hard because he actually had a dream of becoming a Canadian police officer. But unfortunately, those dreams failed whenever he was in training and he hurt, I think, his leg, and that prevented him to actually continue training to become a police officer. So whenever he got the news that he was not able to become a Royal Canadian police officer, he went back to being a truck driver, and this was his chance to murder without any suspicion. Oh my gosh. No, Keith, come on. His first victim was named Tawana Bennett. I really hope I'm saying her name right. I will spell it out right down here for you guys. But I'm going to call her Tawana. Tawana. I think that's right. No disrespect or anything. I'm just really bad at pronouncing names. So Tawana Bennett was murdered on January 23rd, 1990, right inside Portland, Oregon. Keith introduced himself to Tawana inside of a bar and then invited her to his house that he was renting at the time. So whenever he brought her home to his house, he was assuming that they were going to have like sexual relations. But whenever Tawana refused, that's whenever he snapped. He started to beat her and then sexually assault her. He began to worry that Tawana was going to tell the police, so he stuck his whole fist and choked her to death. And what's even worse about it is that she was mentally slow, and that's what turned him on. That's so fucking gross. Disgusting. He ended up beating her so badly that her face was no longer recognizable. He was able to establish an alibi by going back out to the bar and starting to talk to other people. He would then later dispose of her body and then go back on the road the next day. The body later was discovered with no suspects or any leads, until there was a call that was reported to the police that there was a man bragging about killing Tawana at the bar. The caller identified John Sonotsky. It was later told that John was actually on parole for his DUI that he actually got before the murder. But then, here goes some tea. It was found that his girlfriend was the girl who made the call to the police and said that she assisted John with the murder of Tawana Bennett. And you're wondering why she called and reported herself. Her name is Lervon, I think. Lervoner? I don't know how to say her name. I'll put it right here because I'm struggling. I am struggling. I'm in that turkey coma. I'm ready to take a nap. But apparently they decided to take the blame for this because they wanted to move out, and I guess they wanted to go to a place that had free food. So later, Laverne and John were convicted of the murder of Tawana Bennett. On April 12, 1990, Keith was driving along, and I guess he stopped at a grocery store, but an intoxicated lady came up to him with a baby, and I guess they wanted a ride. So the woman and the baby did get into the car with Keith, and things got a little bit personal. They exchanged personal information and proceeded to act on each other sexually. And the lady performed oral sex on Keith while the baby was in the back seat. For some reason, she actually stopped giving him oral sex and then asked Keith to take her home. But Keith was just like, no, you need to finish or else I'm gonna snap your neck. Dude, what is wrong with this dude? So thankfully, Keith was not able to break her neck, and because he apparently didn't want to kill a baby, he ended up dropping off the lady and the baby back at the parking lot where they met. Later, Keith was arrested at gunpoint because the lady was able to provide police with information that they exchanged, and yeah, good for her. So I couldn't find any information on how Keith got out of attempting murder on this lady, but yeah, he got out. About 2.5 years later, after his first murder, Keith was able to strike again. Unfortunately, this lady was not identified by the police, but Keith claimed that he raped and strangled her, and her body was found near Blythe, California. He believed that her name was Claudia, so I don't know, but they were not able to identify her at all. Then a month later, the body of Cynthia Lynn Rose was discovered in Turlock, California. Keith claimed that she was a sex worker that entered his truck without any permission. His fourth victim was another sex worker by the name of Lori Ann Pentland. Her body was found strangled in Salem, Oregon in the month of November. Apparently, Lori was trying to double the fee that she charged for the sex that her and Keith had already exchanged. And later, she threatened Keith that she would call the police, and that is where Keith killed her. Over 6 months later, Keith's fifth victim was named either Cindy or Carla, but she was a homeless person that the police believed had overdosed by a drug addiction. Over another year later, that is where Keith had another victim, and this would be his sixth victim. His seventh victim was named Angela Subrise. She was driving with him when she started to complain that he wasn't driving fast enough, and she was on her way to see her boyfriend. And because he got annoyed, he just killed her. He was just like, you know what? This is annoying. I'm just gonna kill her. Just gonna kill her. And you know, the worst thing about it is that he tied her underneath his truck and let her face just like scrape amongst the concrete of the road because he felt like she had a lot of grime and dirt on her face. Yeah, crazy. His final victim. Yeah, this is his eighth victim. Eight. Was his fiancée, Julie Ann Winningham. Apparently he really liked her, but she was only with him for the money. So honestly, I don't think this is true because I don't think truck drivers make that much money. I should probably look that up. I need to be educated on this. He was finally arrested for the murder of his fiancée on March 22nd, 1995. So he did this over a span of 5 years, you guys. Because his first victim was in 1990 and now it's 1995 and he just kept killing. Just kept killing. So he was questioned by the detective named Buckner, and he was later released because he was not able to confess within 6 hours. So they were just like, all right, we'll just let him go for now. So later on that day, he actually tried to commit suicide by taking sleepy pills. Not sleepy pills, but sleeping pills. But his body actually rejected it, so he wasn't able to, commit suicide. And the next day, he tried to commit suicide again. And I'm thinking, like, that's such a coward way out. Like, if you're gonna kill people and then kill yourself, like, come on, that's so cowardly. Keith was sending letters to his brother saying, like, oh, I did this, I did something bad. And at the end of every single letter, he would draw a little happy face. And every letter he would send to the news media, little happy face. While in custody, he eventually confessed to the killing of Angela Subrise, and Angela's body was found by the confession and details that Keith was able to give the police. Keith got a little bit egotistic and a bit upset that people were taking the attention of all the murders he committed, so then he started, doing more confessions, telling the police, oh, well, I killed this person, I did this, I did that, and that's how the police was able to find more unidentified bodies. He was able to use smaller details that would, provide evidence that he was the one that killed those people. Because Keith was kind of upset that there was people taking credit for some of the murders that he did, he was able to give the police a little bit of details of, Tawana's murder. He said that he enjoyed the murder of Tawana so much that the stall that he killed her in, he drew a little happy face in that stall. Later, he said that he killed over 160 people, but then he recanted all of those because he was just like, I'm not mentally sane enough to actually tell you the truth. But with the 8 cases that they were able to pin the points onto Keith, he ended up receiving life in prison for all the murders. So he's not going to be out for a long while until he's dead 8 times. So yeah. Anyways, I know that this was a really long video and I really hope you guys enjoyed it because it took me forever to do this entire thing. Like my back is hurting from sitting like this. Maybe I should find a different place to sit because I don't know, recently my right side of my back's been hurting a lot. But anyways, please comment down below or hit me up on Instagram to tell me who I should talk about next because I want to talk about more people. You know, it's like tea time with Cathy. It's not tea time with Cathy. It's get comfy with Cathy. That's why I'm in my ice cube shirt and just on my bed. So, yeah. Well, see you guys later. Bye.